So welcome everyone to this webinar today. We've got Brandon here, and I was practicing his name ahead of time.
Yeah.
Shidlowski, right?
There we go.
Shidlowski, do I have it right? Yes, I got it. No, Brandon, I just met Brandon probably for the first time at Teast this last year. I believe, was that the first time we had really met, Brandon? I think so.
100%. Yeah, I was around there. I obviously very much so knew of QFloors, but I think that was the first time we met at Services.
Okay, it was awesome. And since then, we've created a great relationship here, and it's something that I think our customers are asking for and want to know more about. And so he is the director of dealer operations. Did I get that right too?
You got that right.
You can
Nailed
explain
it.
to us what that means also, but we're going to be talking with him today for a little bit. We'll also be posting a recording of this webinar out on our social media sites and everything too, for people that can't stay for the full time, or if you get interrupted, just should know that we'll be recording this and going from there. So Brandon, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself, and tell us, not just me, but tell us who you are and why we're here today for a second.
Cool. I appreciate the intro, and I appreciate you having me here. As Chad mentioned, my name is Brandon, and I am the Director of Dealer Operations at Roomvo. We are the leading visualizer in the home improvement industry, and specifically what my team focuses on is supporting independent retailers across the globe, really, with getting our visualizer all the way to using that visualizer daily with customers. We have a fantastic team on standby ready to help with literally all parts of that journey. And my journey here has been interesting. I was saying to Chad before this, I've got a bit of an unconventional background. I went to school, I studied business, I went right into finance, and after 5 months, I said, I cannot do this. And so I joined a film studio, and I went on contract there for a year, and I worked with Christopher Walken and Viggo Mortensen, and it was a blast. A year later, when the contract expired, friends called me. They asked me if I wanted to start a record label with them, and I had disappointed my parents, and I said, let's continue that trajectory. And so I doubled down, and I did that. And about a year after that, my bosses from finance, they had called me, and they had started this company called Roomvo. And they asked me if I wanted to give it a shot. And I was skeptical. I had never thought about flooring as a career, didn't know visualization, didn't know what that meant. And a couple days ago was my 3-year anniversary at the company. And I'm super proud to say that in those 3 years, I've had the privilege of watching the company grow to well over 160 people now. And we have 5,000 retailers using Roomvo across mostly North America now. So I'm super happy to be here, and I'm super excited to talk to you guys today.
Where did you grow up, Brandon?
Grew up in Toronto, Ontario. Yeah, I'm Canadian. So if I say sorry a lot, excuse me. That we are a little kind and maybe to a fault. Sorry about that. And there you go.
Know my daughter lived there for a couple of years.
No.
Oh, you did?
Where?
Well, you guys will have to catch up afterwards. And
cool. Very cool. I will for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She took us up there and gave us the full-on tour of Toronto. So
yeah, Toronto.
Awesome
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. Well, let's get started, Brandon. Let us know what's going on here.
Yeah. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Are you able to see that?
Yep, we got it.
Cool. Well, I am going to talk to you guys today primarily about visualization, but we're going to get there through a bit of an unconventional way. As far as an agenda goes, I'll give you a little bit more about Roomvo, although I sort of just shared that part. We're going to talk about the omnichannel experience. We're going to talk about what that means and specifically what that means for you as a flooring retailer. And then we're going to get into your website. And what I'm excited to talk to you about is sort of different ways you can think about your website, maybe how you should be thinking about it, and how visualization fits into what I hope is a new way for you to start thinking about your site. I'm going to walk you through the visualizer, through Roomvo's visualizer on a retailer's website today. It's a live demo. And then I'm going to show you some visualizer best practices, stuff that our team uses when we're training retail sales associates, RSAs, on how to use that visualizer with customers during interactions. The goal is that all of the things I'm talking about today really isn't Roomvo specific. I'm going to walk you through a Roomvo visualizer, but the goal is this is how you use a visualizer with customers, regardless of which visualizer it is. And my hope is that the tips and tricks are applicable so that if you have a different visualizer today on your site, you should still be able to use those. And then I'm going to show you how you can get Roomvo for free at the end of this. So at a high level, like I said, we're the leading visualizer in the home improvement industry. We actually do way more than just floors. We do floors and area rugs. We do countertops. We do walls, so full surfaces, wallpaper, paint, wall art. I'm even going to show you a little bit of those extra capabilities today, but we really help customers transform their whole space. And over the 5-ish years that we've been around, a little over 5 years now, we're proud to have brought billions of products to life. With over 5,000 retailers using it today alone, we have a ton of data to now back up just how effective our visualizer is when on customer sites. So, right off the bat, you see there, the customers spend 2 times the amount of time on a website on average when using our visualizer. And I think you'll see why soon. It's sort of fun. It's a game. It's kind of how I got into the company. Just seeing it the first time was addictive. We also know that customers are 5 times more likely to take certain actions and convert when they use Roomvo. So some customers have seen, for instance, ordering a sample go up by 5 times when a customer uses the visualizer on their website. And what's really cool about us is that we're one visualizer for all of your brands. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that means really soon.
Can I ask you, how did Roomvo get its start? Let's say let's talk the company a little bit.
Yeah, so we have 3 co-founders. One of them was my boss in finance, Pavel Rajzel. All of them are from Toronto or went to school together in the near Toronto area, university. And we have our other 2 founders on the engineering side are ex-Google employees. So they bring a really strong business mind to it. And they bring, obviously, the really strong coding skills that you're going to see really shortly paid off in a big way. But as far as the company is concerned, it's been sort of rocket ship growth. We were on Deloitte's fastest 500 companies in North America last year. I think we were 56, 55. And we were the 11th fastest growing company in Canada. And we're super proud to be privately owned. So we answer to nobody.
How many employees do you have? How many employees?
160, well over 160 now. I don't even have an exact number, but it's, I was the 30th employee 3 years ago. So
is that spread out over like the whole world, or do you have a concentration of employees in Toronto, or how does that look?
Yeah, we're a remote first company. So we, COVID sort of pushed us there. And it's been amazing. We now have employees quite literally everywhere, all over Canada, not just Toronto. That's where our HQ is, but all over Canada. We have employees in the States. One of the employees was a retailer in the States who emailed me saying he loved the visualizer and now he works on our team. So that was awesome. We have employees in Europe. So we're really proud to be able to do that. And we had to adapt. And when you're remote, you can kind of tap into the talent globally, which has been fantastic for us.
Well, thank you for letting me take you that detour there for a second. Let's talk Omnichannel for a second.
I appreciate you asking, but let's talk Omnichannel for a second. So I'm not sure if those on the call are familiar with it, but the omnichannel experience refers to having this single, consistent, and cohesive experience for your customers across all of your brand's touch points. So whether they're going into your showroom or they're interacting with you online, like your website, or maybe you're going into their house or in-home measurements. Today's consumer expects that there feels like there's one experience there, and they look for that stuff. And conversely, if it's not there, if your showroom is amazing, but your website is a disaster, there's this cognitive dissonance that it doesn't feel good. And it gets, maybe when it's done really well, you don't notice it, but that's because it was done really well. The consulting company, Frost & Sullivan there, that quote I have, it's my favorite on this. It's about seamless and effortless, high quality customer experiences between contact channels, not just individually on each one. It's not just enough to have a really nice website anymore and a really nice showroom. What are you doing to actually connect them? Are you working hard so that for the customer things are easy? And when I talk to retailers about this, I sometimes get the pushback that, but we're this physical good, we're floors, it doesn't matter. And I got that a lot more before COVID. I think that COVID really sped up the adoption of technology in all industries. But I've chosen to share a case study here that I really like. I found online from Starbucks. And this is a coffee company, right? Like their digital side is just as far away with coffee as it is from floors. Yet they do this spectacularly. If anyone wants to know, my order is a tall pike and a grande cup, and the app, Starbucks' app, it knows that, right? It's favorited. Every time I go on that app, it's there. They use that app to track reward points. They use the app so that I can be on a subway, I can place an order, I can get off. My drink is ready, but it also has my name on it. It's not just an order is ready. There's this extra personalized touch. And one of my more favorite ones at the bottom there is they have a Spotify integration, so that when you're in a store, you can go into the app and see what song is playing in that store and immediately add it to your playlist if you're on Spotify. The point being that just because Starbucks was a coffee company, it didn't mean that they were excused from today's intelligent consumer. You have to go above and beyond to provide these really cool and interactive experiences that transcend just the physical showroom. And that is potentially daunting when it comes to your businesses, because one, traditionally it wasn't digital. That's super fair. And two, for my conversations with retailers over the past 3 years, now there's been thousands of those, you guys are insanely busy, like there really wasn't a time, maybe there was a little lull at the very beginning of COVID where, what happens next, but that was shortly replaced with a crazy boom in business. And things like your website constantly get pushed lower and lower down on the list of priorities because you guys are, frankly and thankfully, slammed. But it doesn't have to be that daunting, and it really doesn't have to be that hard. What it takes, I think, and what at Roomvo we think, is a different way to frame it. And so the point of all this is that, the omni-channel experience is important, and I think you guys have really crushed that showroom experience. I want to take the rest of the conversation to talk about the digital side. And I want to frame this around the idea that your website is your digital showroom. So to kind of kick things off with how we can start thinking about that, I like to ask retailers a question that goes along the lines of a customer walks into your showroom. How many times have you trained your sales associates to sit behind the counter and wait for the customer to walk through your showroom, walk through the displays, determine that they need carpet over hardwood or whatever it might be, find the perfect one and come to you and say, I need this many square foot of this specific product. This is what I need. I think none of you guys would be in business if this was the practice that you employed. And so you guys already know that when a customer walks in, you reach out, you greet them. And you've also done a ton of work to make your showrooms as inviting as possible. But yet, the same logic isn't taken when building and designing your website. In cases, we haven't thought about the flow. We haven't thought about reaching out to the customer. Instead, we think about it as the customer is going to hit our website and find what they're looking for. And we pride ourselves on having contact forms, hoping that they'll get there and they will fill it out. But the truth is that first impressions are everything. We know this. We know that 81% of the experience today of shopping journeys begin online. Flooring is not immune to that. It starts with a Google search, flooring stores near me, or something along those lines. And we know that if you don't have a strong presence, then that implicitly and sometimes explicitly says something to the consumer, especially when they can now so easily have access to tons of information like, where's the next store near me? And so it puts the onus on you to have the best experience across all of your interactions. In other words, your website is now, today, the first impression of your business with customers. So it needs to be intuitive. It needs to be engaging. It needs to keep customers on your site. It doesn't need links that send them elsewhere. One of the things that we do at Roomvo is for dealers who don't have a website, we can actually power your website too. And depending on how custom you want, we have partners in the industry who are amazing and we can help you out. But this is a website powered on our platform. We're not going to talk about our web product today, but I've taken a screenshot here because I think that this is sort of the gold standard for one of my favorite sites, one of our customers, Floors and More AR. You land on it, they welcome you. They have the browse product button that takes you to a catalog. And that catalog has a visualizer built in, so you're offering value. There's the address and a phone number right at the top, front and center. So if they want to find you or they want to call you, they can do that. And there's get an estimate right away. So that means we're making it really easy for customers to reach out. Now, this isn't ironically a plug for Roomvo sites. These are creative decisions that Floors and More has taken that I think exemplify this really important idea that this first impression really matters and you got to crush it. And you can think about, this analogy of the customer walking in your room or your showroom and your website. You can take it beyond just reaching out. You want the customer to see your offering in your showroom. That's why you invest in all those displays. That's why you make sure that the most recent products are displayed in those displays. Well, do you have a product catalog on your website? Is it easy for customers to see what you sell? Do you have photos of your showroom at the very least? You want to keep your showroom clean. I don't think that you guys let it get really messy, let it get really dirty. You understand that matters. Well, is your website clean? Is it easy to find things on your site? Are menus nested within menus? You train your staff to be really well-educated, knowledgeable resources for consumers. Does your website have blog posts that are relevant? Do they have FAQs that are important? Because I know that your customer that walks in, the first-time home buyer, more often than not will ask similar questions. And your guys are definitely trained to answer those questions. But if they come into your showroom with those questions more often than not, they probably have those same questions when they land on your site. What steps have you done to address them up front?
So Brandon, I got a question here while you're
yeah.
I mean, I think it's safe to say if you don't have a website, if you don't have not just a website, but something that is good, right? If you spend like nothing on your website and just have uh, your son's friend put it up for you or something like that, right? I
Sure.
mean, if you're not invested in that, are you really in business today? I mean, I don't think you can be, can you? Or what?
I think that there's a difference between can you be in business today and will you be in business tomorrow? Like
Okay.
maybe you're still scraping by, and in some demographics, right? Some geographic locations, I should say, you might be lucky. There might not be big box stores in your local vicinity, right? You might be in a pool of competition where they are all collectively behind. But yeah, in major metropolitan areas, uh, even in smaller rural areas, the one that chooses to do this, they're the one that wins in the future, guaranteed, hands down. So, um,
I mean,
yeah, I think,
you gotta have your own domain. It can't.
yeah,
You gotta have your own. Yeah, and when I say domain, I'm talking about you know alfredsfloors.com or whatever it
yeah,
is, and you should be using emails when you're communicating with customers. It shouldn't have gmail.com at the end of that name. It should have your floor name. I mean, we're talking about if you haven't invested in this kind of stuff, you're behind, and you need to make a change. I'm going to just say it. You need to make a change. And anyway, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are still kind of just dabbling and aren't fully in and aren't fully invested in having a website and having a website presence and spending the money on that. And so I don't know. I just think that you're sharing that same kind of sentiment here, that it's really I think that's what you're trying to tell us, is what I'm saying.
I think that's exactly what I'm trying to say. And I think that my gut is we're talking to a group of people who understood the importance of investing in software. And I hope that most of this is not only common knowledge, but I assume that if I went on any of your customers' websites, this is what I would see, right? And so I guess what I am suggesting is that this is the bare minimum. But, to your
Brandon,
point,
I'm gonna tell you that I can say at least half of my customers aren't doing this.
okay,
So
okay, well, we'll help them.
I that's why I'm bringing it up, right? I think you're bringing
Okay.
up the very valid point. It's not, some people just assume that this is just what you do, but I mean, if you aren't doing this, I think you're bringing up the real reasons behind why you got to do it. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And by the way, your comment on the Gmail thing, that's the omnichannel experience that I'm talking about. Getting an email from @floorsandmore.com is that little touch that makes it feel like the company, even though it's a flooring store, even though we're talking about a physical good, this email, this is a digital product. And that coming from @floorsandmore.com makes it feel like it's part of one connected experience. And so my goal up until now has been, and you kind of have changed it a little to the sense of my hope is that everything here makes sense and is, we'll call it necessary conditions. But what I want to talk about next is that extra stuff. This stuff you need to have. But then we should talk about what you do in your store to stand out from the competition. So everyone should have clean showrooms. Everyone should have all the displays with the latest products. Then there's that X factor, that thing that you guys do that the rest don't, that you pride yourself on, that you market yourself on. It's your in-stock inventory that lets you make predictable timelines and you can maybe bring costs down. It's your design center that will give you state-of-the-art walking throughs of designs and let you see what it looks like. You guys have that it factor. And you need that on your website too. You need something that makes you stand out. You need tools that establish value. Because value is what makes the consumer shop with you. And if done right, value is what makes them pay more because they can't get this thing elsewhere. So for us, our whole thing is, how can you use a visualizer to instill confidence so that the conversation is primed on value and not on price? How can you use it to differentiate yourself? And maybe, Chad, I'm going to double down. If there are any people who are skeptical on this call about the importance of your site, your digital presence, or in this case, a visualizer, These are all clips from the people who are very much so interested in taking you out of business, right? The Wayfair, the Amazon, the IKEA. And they all have their own visualizer. Now, this is not to scare you guys, but it is to stress that this is not a potential thing. This is a reality. And I'm excited because I'm going to skip to the punchline, but I'm excited. We have a free solution for you that literally competes, if not dominates it. And we'll get to it soon. But the point of this conversation is to show you that you need something, and I'm going to give you a solution that's going to cost you nothing. This is, by the way, the most loaded slide in this deck. I almost feel like I should take it out. You should have a visualizer if you want to create an engaging buying experience. I hope that you guys will do that. Help customers feel more confident. Shorten the buying process. Although one thing that isn't here that I think should be stressed is that at the core, this confidence piece. It should not be overlooked as just a bullet. Confidence in this industry is a game changer when the traditional experience is looking at a sample in a massive room, hoping, squinting, thinking, and relying on your imagination that you're going to make the right choice. And that's tough, because if you've made the wrong choice, it's probably too late once you've figured that out. And so if you can give customers that confidence, if you can reduce that risk, then not only are they going to shop with you, but that's actually worth something. You can push them to higher margin items, potentially items that they wouldn't have even explored because of their price tag. But the feeling of love is powerful. And if they fall in love with a product before they find out how much it costs, it's a little bit more, but at least I know I'm going to love it. And so we believe firmly, and we have seen that this visualizer can help you actually not only close things faster, but increase your margins or shift people to those higher price items. So regardless of Roomvo, I hope by now we've established digital is important, and you focus hard on your physical, so we got to connect it to digital. And part of digital is there's these bare necessities, but then there's that extra value driver that you have to have included. What makes a good visualizer? If we've established that a visualizer is one of those things that is a value driver, I want to give you guys a checklist for if you're evaluating a visualizer, what should you look for? Things that are important to us at Roomvo. Needs to be easy to use, intuitive, accessible on any device, and optimized to those devices. So it has to be not just able to be accessed on a phone, a tablet, or a computer, but it has to look good on all of them. It can't crunch the screen down on a smaller screen, because if you can't see what the product looks like, then it's not a good visualizer. And on that point of being intuitive and easy to use, you don't want to bury behind a login portal. I love people who tell me, like, yeah, okay, but at least I get a lead. Okay, but no one did it. No one used it. How many times have you tried to do something on a website and it asked you for info, a pop-up came up? How many of you guys have filled out that form? So sure, a couple of people will do it, and they'll be arguably more qualified. But those same people, if they loved it, would have reached out to you anyways. Why would you risk losing everyone else? So make it easy to get into. Let them fall in love with the product. Then let them reach out, because the visualizer, if good, will capture people's imagination. You want to keep people on your site. Another thing that I hear all the time when I talk to retailers is, well, I don't need one on my website. I have, every one of my manufacturers, they have one on their site. I'll just send my customers there. This is crazy logic. You're working hard, I should say, to bring customers to your website. And then you're going to send them to 5 different manufacturers' websites where there are dealer locators, where they can find the local competition and just gouge you for price. And by the way, even if that's true and you can send them to all those sites, they can't compare products across brands. So that's the next part that's important. You want one that lets you change and compare a Mannington product to an Armstrong product, just like your showroom. The omni-channel experience stresses that this needs to be a seamless experience. In your physical showroom, you compare things across displays. You cannot do that digitally if you are sending customers to 5 different manufacturer websites. And of course, the last one is, I think, fairly intuitive, but it needs to be realistic. It needs to go around objects. It needs to take lighting into account. It needs shadows. You know, sometimes people ask me, well, you know, I have a different visualizer that lets me do a slider and compare the old floor to the new floor. Yours doesn't have that. It's hard. My friend, they're in their room. They can see what the old floor looks like. We want to show them what the new floor could look like. So what we focus on heavily is making sure that the features that we make available are features that are going to help the consumer make the best purchase decision and instill that confidence that we know is important. And on that note, I'd love to take a few minutes here to walk you guys through the visualizer. If you scan this, I'll give you guys a few seconds to take out your phone. If you scan it, it's going to open you up to a website, Florida Core CT. They're a customer of both QFloors and Roomvo. I'll give you a couple more seconds here. I'm going to walk you through our visualizer, and I'm going to point out some things for you to look at. Okay,
It's coming up.
Click it.
It's coming up.
I'm going to click it now. Did it work? We're good?
We're doing good here.
Cool. So, Florida Core's website, this is their website. We do not touch their website at all. The only thing I'll point out is their URL. It's floridacorect.com. Just want to point that out now, and it'll become important soon. While Roomvo doesn't touch the website, we are this widget in the bottom right corner. When you click on it, a little box opens up with a list of brands. These are brands that Mike and his team at Florida Core have chosen to include in their visualizer. So this is completely custom to their offering. In fact, dealers are the ones who get to choose which brands are in there. So you don't have to wait on a team on our end to do it. You have full control. We'll click Browse All Products and we'll select Floors for now. And the first thing you're going to see is a product catalog that is automatically populated with products based on the brands that Mike chose. So these are brands that work with Roomvo, and they give us their products. So as the retailer, you're done. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, I got to get all these images across all the brands. What about new ones and drops? No. Manufacturers work with Roomvo directly to do this all for you. You just tell us which brands you carry. We take care of the rest. So click on any product. It really doesn't matter.
Typically, how many products will a site carry, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, we have over 100 brands in the visualizer today. So at this point, we more often than not have about 80%, if not more, of the brands that the retailer carries. So, you know, I see retailers that just specialize in a couple, and then I have retailers, I think Mike there had probably close to 40, if I'm correct, but I don't have the exact number for you.
Okay. But is it like the full catalogs from all these different suppliers, or is it a limited part of the catalog, or what is it?
Oh yeah, when we work with the manufacturer provides us all of their images, all of their products, and if you as the retailer only carry certain collections, you actually have the ability to go and filter so that only those collections are shown. So it's really customized for your offering. You don't have to worry about it showing products you don't have. I would say the only caveat is, you know, if we don't work with that manufacturer, we don't have their products, and if you private label products, we don't do that today in our free version. But beyond that, really, you have a ton of control in your hands.
Okay.
So now, you know, you selected a product, you're taken to a screen where you can either, you'll see it says upload a photo of your room. We have some preset rooms at the bottom for you to use, but we're going to ignore that. We're going to go right to the upload. And if you're on a mobile device and you click that, you can actually go ahead and take a photo directly from your camera I'm going to use a photo I already have from right outside my office here. And you'll see, you know, 2 chairs. It's got some carpet tile on the ground. Select it. You just wait a few seconds and the visualizer does all the work. It does work as fast as your connection. So, you know, sometimes Wi-Fi is pretty slow, but here, thankfully, it loaded fast. And within seconds, the product that I selected has immediately been placed. It's replaced the carpet tile that was here. On the left-hand side is where you can now start to explore new products. So as you scroll on the left, you can see that there's other products for you to choose from. As soon as you click it, it immediately places that product in that room. It even goes around all of the wheels on these chairs. So it's taken that. You can see it's taken shadows into account. And this was all automatic. The experience that you guys saw, this is the same experience that is possibly happening in your hands right now if you did it yourself. We have filters on the left-hand side to make it easy for customers to find products, everything from product families to colors to brands. And it all automatically happens so that within just a few seconds, you're able to find that perfect product. Let me put on a product that, here we go. So let's say you have a plain product and, whoops, there we go. You have a plain product and you want to see what it might look like in a different direction. At the top of your screen, you'll see that there's a few other options. You can click Rotate Surface as an example, and you can now see how that floor runs in different directions. What's really cool about Roomvo is that we also do walls and countertops. So we really help someone redesign their whole room. Again, this is only if the customer, if you as the retailer carries products with brands that work with us and have given us products for those surfaces. So we're not going to just go and put MSI wall tiles in your visualizer if you don't work with MSI. So you don't have to worry about that. But let's say you do, in an image that you upload, within seconds, you can now start to redesign the whole room. In fact, you'll even see that the visualizer automatically put nodes on these walls. Maybe you're doing a kitchen and you want to change a backsplash and you just want to change this one wall here. I've selected that node, I select a product, and it will only change what it detected to be that wall. And on the right-hand side here, this wall that was going in a different direction, it kept it with the blue that I had put on before. And countertops, this is a tough photo for countertops, but I'll still show you. And by the way, Chad, we'll all acknowledge that I'm not an interior designer for a reason here, so no one will judge me on this absolute debacle of an office. But pardon?
The design is not optimal. Is that what you're saying?
The design is not optimal, but my hope is that you guys can do something better with your clients. And the point is that in just a few seconds, we've transformed this office, and it happens on your site. You know, I pointed out what the domain was before we got here, floordecorct.com. We're still there now, right? We keep customers on your site. It's gone. You're done with the days of sending customers to the manufacturer's site. Why, right? Why send leads elsewhere? And, you know, that's just the beginning. Once customers are happy, on the right-hand side, we have extra options to make it even easier for them to share. We have these share and save functions on the right. They can actually get share links that they can copy and paste and text to somebody as an example. When that person gets that link, they'll be able to open up the visualizer to that room scene with those products already placed in it. We have the ability to download images that watermarks which products the customer had in their room when they downloaded the image. So if they bring it into your showroom, it shows they were looking at this floor product, this wall product, and this countertop product when they saved this screenshot. My favorite one is the email. It's my favorite one because let's say you're in a showroom and you're dealing with a client and you want to email them the photo so that when they go home, they can play around with your visualizer. Well, you can do this from within the visualizer, and you capture their email address for follow-ups later. It's this awesome sort of sneaky way of getting an extra lead and giving them a way to go right back into the tool when they get home, which screams omni-channel experience. Chad, is there anything that I didn't cover on the visualizer front while I'm still here that you have questions about?
I'll be honest with you, Brandon. It's the first time I've gotten on your site and looked at it.
Cool. What do you think?
I think it's awesome. I mean,
cool.
I've seen visualizers. Don't get me wrong. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably, I don't take time to smell the roses as I should all the time. Probably I'm so focused on what I'm doing. But what an awesome experience for a customer, right? To be able.
Awesome.
I had this other thought, Brandon, while you're explaining this omnichannel thing that kind of applies to our customers. I mean, so I'm thinking, all right, your customer is getting this experience, and then just think you follow this up by coming out and measuring and whatever it is, and now you're using an actual estimator on an iPad showing them how it's going to turn and how, just kind of like what you're doing here, but showing them how much they're going to need. The computer is telling them how much it's going to need. You're this omnichannel concept that you're giving can extend. You're giving them a vision of this, and it can continue to extend. And if you're not doing this, it's like what you're saying. Your competitors are doing this, and you're not going to look like you need to look. I don't know how better to say that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the only other thing I would say on this is in the top left corner, you'll see an X button. Customer clicks that, and they're on the same page of your site that they were on when they opened the tool. So it's a full screen experience to make it easy, keeps customers there the whole time, and it makes it really easy for them to continue to go back onto your website and continue that shopping experience on your site. In the last few minutes here, I'm going to share just a few tips and tricks on how you can use it with customers. Again, these are not Roomvo specific. My hope is that your visualizer, these are applicable across all of them. The first is advertise you have a visualizer. Make sure customers know that. Customer calls you and they're going to tell you that they're coming in. Maybe they're booking an appointment. Ask them to come in with a photo of their room. Better yet, ask them to email you that photo before they come in, because now you have their email address and you can upload it into the visualizer before they even come in to start that experience off, and that is a value driver. You want to incorporate the visualizer from the start. This is something that you can use. Jim Armstrong is awesome. He's a consultant in the industry. He actually co-hosts a webinar with us, and he has this analogy of a doctor, and how your job as a retailer is to be a doctor. You got to diagnose what the customer wants. You don't just randomly throw a solution on them. And the visualizer is a diagnostic tool. It helps them visualize within a few seconds, using the filters as an example, what colors they like, what product types they like, maybe which ones they don't like, to help narrow the selection down right out the gate. Always uploading a photo is important too. People who tell me they have a visualizer on their site that has preset rooms and that's okay is crazy to me, because that room does not look like the customer's room. That's the point of the visualizer, to instill confidence. It's a step better than nothing at all or a sample. I can't argue that, but uploading a room is key. And if a customer comes in and they don't have a room potentially on them, we really recommend that you still show them how this works by taking that photo in the showroom, showing them how easy it is and how fast it works. It plants the seed. I got to go home, and they can't go on any website when they get home. They have to go on your website when they go home to do this. So it's really about making sure that they see it and appreciate that this is very easy for them to do. And maybe you want to email them a link right on the spot to get into the visualizer, because again, you got their email address. And that last point there, the filters, that's just an extension of using it at the start. It's really using this as a diagnostics tool right out the gate. But having a visualizer is just the beginning. Chad, when you spoke at the Roomvo University webinar, you were our guest not that long ago. You had an awesome point. You have something, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but one of your philosophies is a QFloors customer isn't a customer until they can produce timely financial statements months after they go live. That's when they're a real customer. That's when they go live. And that requires not just purchasing software, because there's no silver bullet. It's about changing of the mindset, right? It's about buying into a new attitude. And it's the same thing with a visualizer. Maybe it's not as bad in the sense of, because a visualizer is consumer facing, having that widget there, it will still get used, unlike accounting software or an ERP. But you're not getting the most out of it. Having a visualizer isn't enough. It's having your guys use it habitually in every single customer interaction, making it part of the sales process. That's what really juices sales. And we're here to help on that front too. But the training and the reinforcement, that's what makes your associates comfortable with using it. And when they're comfortable and they're able to instill that confidence in the customer, that's where you start to really see the benefits of having the visualizer. And finally, you can integrate the visualizer into your showroom. Pop-up banners. That makes sure that your own guys can't forget that you have a visualizer, and it's also great for customers. QR codes on samples. We work with retailers. Any product that's in our visualizer, anyone, we help you make QR code designs for those products, stickers, I should say. You place those stickers on the sample. When scanned, it opens up the visualizer to that specific product on your website, not on the manufacturer's site. And we design those for you for free. You can go print them locally at cost, or if you want us to print and ship them to you, we pass the cost along to you. Having tablets in your showroom, right? Phones are great. Everyone has a phone. But that bigger screen, investing in a tablet, it pays for itself. You close one deal, it'll pay for itself. Really being able to show customers what their products look like and bringing that into an in-home measurement, just like you were saying, Chad, that is the best time to do it. You're in the customer's home. How many in-home measurements also have this design component where you're there, you take the photos, and by the way, I've had people tell me that they've taken photos of other rooms while they're in that house with the customer to change those floors, and the customer falls in love with that, and then they ended up getting floors for a completely different room while they're there. So there's an upsell component.
Yeah.
And this is not like a dream here. This is, Roomvo is in dozens of showrooms now that we've rolled out this QR code and these pop-up banners. And again, we design all of these designs for you for free. And then we give it to you so that you can print it at cost locally. I'm going to take just 2 minutes just to talk about Roomvo specifically and what makes us different from visualizers out there. And it is pretty straightforward beyond just that leading visualization piece, which in my opinion is probably the most important. That realism is what sets us apart, hands down. But it keeps the customers on your site. It gives you access to 100+ brands that you have the control to add, remove, to select collections within at any time. You wait for nobody. You get access to our Roomvo Pro platform. It lets you visualize products across those brands once you're in the tool. And the catalogs are automatically kept up to date. Manufacturers are working with us to keep those up to date. And they're inclined to do so because if you go on the manufacturer's website, we're their visualizer too. In other words, if they don't give us the up-to-date data, their own website becomes out of date. So we have the highest quality catalogs in the industry with the manufacturers that we work with. And it's free. Manufacturers pay Roomvo to have a visualizer on their website and to have their products available on our platform. That means that the manufacturers are paying to support you guys because you guys are the ones who sell their products. There is literally no catch. Signing up requires zero credit card information. The manufacturers are funding everything.
How many manufacturers do you have, Brandon?
Pardon?
How many manufacturers do you have?
We have well over 100 today. I don't have an exact number, but it's well over 100. Yeah, and you know, in the last few months, some of the exciting ones that have announced, you know, you have Cali, Armstrong, Mannington, Daltile, with American Olean and Marazzi coming soon. These are brands in a very recent amount of time, and we have some awesome news coming soon. So stay tuned, and there's been a ton of traction, and it's been humbling because a lot of these brands have joined because of you guys, because of the retailers. I mean, the retailers believed in us enough to take a chance when maybe they were still missing quite a few of their products, but they understood the importance, and then they started picking up the phone and calling for us and saying, hey, we need you guys in here because it's easier to sell other people's products, and we want your products there so that we can start pushing yours too in the visualizer. And it's been humbling to watch, and
how many floor covering stores do you have?
That's a good statistic. We don't ask for that information, but we have 5,000. We're on 5,000 websites, so
okay.
You know, you're probably in, I don't know, 7,500 stores. I feel like it's a fairly conservative estimate, but
you mean of those 5,000, that those are all flooring companies? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, 100%. Those are all flooring companies.
So you're telling me almost half of the industry has a Roomvo site on their website.
A Roomvo visualizer on their website. There are 5,000. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good question. So CCA, we are the exclusive visualizer of CCA Global. We are on every single one of their Carpet One websites, like 100%. Abbey Floors, we are their exclusive visualizer. We're on 100% of their showrooms.
They're competitors. They're competitors.
They're competitors.
All right.
The FCA network has partnered with us. The NFA has partnered with us. We've even partnered with the NWFA. Like, we work with some awesome associations to do different things for their members. But the point is that we are not.
I guess what CCA, I'm pointing out is, you're for sure your competitors. If you don't have this, there's competitors right down the street from you that do.
Yeah,
I'm doing the numbers in my head, and that's probably an obvious thing.
Yeah, I think that the next lowest hanging fruit is, are you the one that's using it actively? You know, and that's where the next, right? Like, so yeah, if you don't have it, you're behind. But
good point.
I don't think all 5,000 are using it the way that I know if they did, they'd be juicing. I have dealers. I have one dealer specifically in Texas who called me with 23 locations and said that he attributes Roomvo to an increase of $80,000 in revenue across all locations per month. But talk about reinforcement. Scripts were handed to his whole staff about how to speak about Roomvo, when you need to include it in the interaction, right? Like, he took this to a whole new level. My point is, I know because of that it works. It's an attitude change. It's, are you guys willing to adopt it? And so I'm happy to share that, you know, the visualizer is where we start, but you know, this slide is all the other things. I wanted to put like a Buzz Lightyear, like infinity and beyond on this one, because it's way more than a visualizer. Our customers get bi-monthly webinars. We call them Roomvo University webinars. We bring in a different expert in the industry to share their part of the world with our network. Chad was our guest not that long ago.
That was the most highly attended one ever, Brandon.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah. I had to buy a whole new Zoom. It was crazy. It broke. It was insane. So, yeah, you know, we do that. We have Complimentary training. 100% of our customers get access to training. We will get on a Zoom call with all of your employees. We'll record it. We'll share it with you after so that you can train your guys forever on the visualizer. We give you content like banners and social media posts if you want to promote it, and just resources to help you get the most out of your visualizer, like a dedicated dealer support team that has phone call, email, and video call support. And like all of this is free. Every single thing you're seeing because of the manufacturers. So it's not that it's free, it's free for you. And so here is a form. It's one we made in partnership actually with QFloors. So you'll see some brands on there. You scan it. It asks for basic info. It asks you to pick at least one brand on that form that you work with that you want in your visualizer. If for whatever reason you don't work with one of those brands, don't worry. Just select one. Once you add the visualizer to your website, you'll get access to our Roomvo Pro platform where you can remove brands, add brands. So this is really just to get you started. And it really is straightforward. You fill it out, you'll get taken to an instructions page with next steps, but someone on my team will reach out to you tomorrow morning if you sign up tonight, reaching out with help or to offer help. So if you have questions or you run into issues, we will hop on a video call with you and we will walk you through adding it to your site in 5 minutes or less. It's really, really easy.
One last thing, Brandon, that I want to make sure we bring up as I'm thinking about it. You recently just created an interface to our QConnect, right?
Yes.
Where I'm guessing that those emails that you're showing us and stuff are automatically added into QFloors. Is that where that's coming in?
100%, yeah. So we just integrated with QFloors. In fact, we just finished the testing today and it all worked, which we're very excited about. So it's officially live as of today. And if you have QConnect and you have Roomvo, we are now passing all leads generated through Roomvo into your QConnect platform. So you don't have to worry about having leads go to multiple different places. We want to make sure that you have a clean experience and that you use the platforms that you want to run your business. So I'm excited about that.
When you collect an email address, do you also notify them through a notification or something like that?
They will also get notified via email. So we will pick one email from your team that will get notified, but the lead will also automatically appear in QConnect so that anyone who goes in there and monitors those leads would also see it, even if they didn't get that email.
If you need more information about QConnect, which is a QFloors product, obviously, with the Q, right? You can call our sales or support department. They can help you understand that better. So if you don't already have that. So
awesome. I put my info there. If you guys ever have any questions about anything, give me a call. You can text that number, you can call that number, or you can email me. This is what I do. I love supporting you guys. So seriously, if there's anything I can do at all, you just let me know.
Brandon, it's been great having you. What a quick hour that was. I looked down and it's right there. I think we covered most of the questions. Somebody had a question about turning the product. You answered that there's a little button there to do that. I think, let's see, somebody said just make sure the picture's clear and good angle while you're taking a picture of the room. I think he said something about having a glass coffee table and it started floating around or something like that. That was Amanda actually that said that. But other than that, I don't think we have any other questions. So
cool.
Anything else, Brandon? Parting shot, or you said it all?
No, I just wanted to thank you guys, one, for taking time out of your day to come listen to me. That's tough. I'm sorry that you had to hear me. I know that, and so I appreciate you.
We're sorry.
There you go. And that's my Canadian. And I wanted to thank you, Chad, obviously, and the QFloors team for being awesome partners and just having me here. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much, Brandon. Been great having you. Been great getting to know you. Thank you so much for everything you do for the industry.
Yeah, likewise. I'm looking forward to working more together.
All right.